Welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club, your number one stop for spooky reviews of terrifying stories, art, or volumes that us or yourselves choose. Find us live every Wednesday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and the replay on all podcast networks. Sharpen your fangs and get ready to hunt, as it's time to join the herd. But first, please put your paws together for your hosts, Shane, Phil, and Scott.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. My name is Scott, and I'm joined by...
Philippa.
Hello, Philippa. Yes, welcome everyone. So, with the introductions done straight away, we today are going to be talking about Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1, written by James Tynion IV and drawn by Werther Dell'Edera. That's what we're looking at today. It's going to be a fantastic book. This collects issues 1 to 5. So, and we are completely aware that volumes 2 and 3 and all of the issues up to issue 20 are out. So please, if you have read further than this, please do not spoil anything. Please. We will also like to put out a little trigger warning. There are quite some heavy, dark, deep themes going on in this book. So for anyone who is a little timid or a little queasy, then you might not like some of the things we talk about. So just take that with a pinch of salt. And I think that is the little bits done out of the way. I'll do the synopsis in a minute. Guys, I will tell you that last week I made a mistake with the scores. So, so as a group, we had decided that because there's only 3 of us, and we were used to doing a score with 4 people, we are now going to do my score, Phil's score, Shane's score put together, and then we're going to also add the average of your score and add that to the total score. So your score will help towards the leaderboard. So yeah, it's a lot of numbers, but it's okay. So I will show you quickly. So I changed the scoreboard for last week, and it changed colder from a 7.5 to a 7.6.
What went up? Shane, he's going to be unbearable.
It went up. Okay, so let's go ahead and say hi to everyone, and then I'll tell everyone about the book. So Liam's here. Heidi ho. Looks like he's got the best seat in the house. He does. He was first in. Sean the noob, he's in. Evening peeps. Blue Sonic is here. Hi everyone. How's it going? We're doing well. Hope you're doing good as well. Blue Sonic is said he was really going to try and stick with it from episode 1 of this volume. So he's gonna. We're gonna see him every single week now. It's great to see.
100% so far. It's 2 episodes.
Yeah,
in.
Doing well. 2 for 2. Yeah. Peter's here. Olreet. Thank you for joining, mate. And we also have James from This Week in Metropolis. How you doing? They released a new live episode of their podcast yesterday. Go and check that out. Who else do we have? We've got Jack Talks Comics. Hey guys, it's going to be back. It's great to have you back, mate. We understand that you were locked out of your Instagram and you couldn't get in, but now you're all good and everything's great, and so we're happy to see you back. Dominic is here, the Comic Book Report. Hello all, thank you for joining, and that is it for now. So let's get on to the synopsis. Oh, and the last entrant, TB Collects. What's up, nerds? Thank you for joining, mate. Nice to see you. So yes, Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1, starts off with a mysterious monster that is killing all of the children. Only children can see this monster, and it is in this small town, and this mysterious character, Erica Slaughter, comes in and states that she can solve the problem. It seems like she's got experience in this kind of thing, and the story follows her and what's that boy called?
James.
Can't remember yes, her. So Erica and James, they kind of work together to try to help stop this monster. Some things go wrong, some things go right. It's a horror story. It's scary. It's cool. It's mysterious. It's the kind of thing that we all enjoy. So that is Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah.
Yes. One more person has joined in. Nanao. Nan.
No.
Nanao. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining,
I,
mate.
actually, today I actually read up on this book a bit, and first thing I to note that I think everyone says Tynion wrong or Tynion. It actually is pronounced Tynion. Like
Oh, it's Tynion.
he has a newsletter called Tiny Onion. I think that's how
Right.
you're meant to say his name, Tiny
Okay.
Onion, like
Okay.
Tynion,
There we go.
Tiny Onion.
Learned
So
something new already.
yeah, this is what we're all here for, to learn experience. Um, I want to talk about the hype of this book first of all,
Okay.
because this book came out 2 years ago, and
Yeah. 2019. Yeah.
it was pretty much optioned straight away for a TV show.
Yeah.
The single issues went for like they're selling for ridiculous money. I know people have sold like they're like sets 1 to 15 for like £400, £500, £600 for the whole set. It, there was a lot of hype about this book, how good it was. James Tynion as well. He's had the best 2 or 3 years probably he's ever had in writing. But I think that hype, for me reading this book, is to its detriment. I don't know if this book lived up to that hype of what I was hearing in the ether of comic books and the story. I just don't think it lived up to
I
that.
think
It's still good. It's just not what people are making it out.
this hype thing, not just with this book, but with anything. I mean, you with Maximum Carnage, right? You hyped that up, and I didn't enjoy it that much. But it's that kind of thing. Like when people go like, "Oh, you need to watch this TV show. You need to watch this film. It's so good. It's so cool." So instantly, your expectations are raised. They're not your normal expectations, and this story is probably more enjoyed by the people who read it month to month, getting
Yeah.
the issues or getting the volumes as soon as the volumes came out. Instead of now, leaving it, we are now 2 years down the line. Like I read this, about April, May last year. So like I was kind of there with the whole bandwagon, but I can see where you're coming from. Totally.
Yeah, well, like we had read Once in Future in season 1 of the Nerd Herd, and
Yeah.
that's a book that you love. And again, it's similar to Something's Killing the Children, came out at the same kind of time.
Yeah.
They were the two books that people would rave about
Mhm.
for single issues every month or whatever.
Especially when you mentioned Boom Studios.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It what's the word? Propelled Boom Studios to a higher level. Really, those two
100%,
books.
yeah.
And I think I don't want I said before in our year wrap up show that I think I scored Once in Future lower than it deserved because of the
Right.
hype and because of the disappointment. So I've tried to look at this book today like in a different way because I know there's
Okay.
hype.
Yeah.
Like the story is actually really good. There's no question. It's a really good story. It just doesn't live up to that hype. But I'm not going to score it today based it against the hype, if you know what I mean.
Okay. You're going to try your
So
best.
I'm going to try my best, and I think, like I say, I do think the hype is
Yeah.
it's to its demise. Really,
Okay.
it shouldn't
Yeah.
be about the hype.
Yeah. All right. Going back to the name, we have TB Collects. He said he saw an interview with James to say how it was pronounced, and it's pronounced Tynan.
Tynion.
Tynan.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We've also got Perpetual Comics. Good evening, and we've got Highland G as well. Hello, thank you for joining. We had Dominic. He commented. He said, "Training myself to read across both pages, left to right, with this collection was a bit of a learning experience." That's right, because that's not a very common thing that I've seen in many books that I've read, where you have 9 panels on each page.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to read all the way across like that, and you sometimes, for me, I remember when I read it first, I got to like the second row of the left page, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense." So then you have to kind of try to retrace and track. Okay, right, let's try it this way. Right, that works. Okay, it wasn't, it wasn't very.
Fluid, is that the right word? Maybe.
Yeah, like fluent. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had the same problem. It's actually one of the notes I made, the one of many, of course, I made. So it had it a few times and a few kind of double pages where it did kind of trick you. But then once you get used to that, then another page where there's loads of panels, it didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the times when I had it going across 2 pages, you had to like put effort into reading it to make sure you went the correct way.
Mhm.
But then when they didn't do it, you still had to put effort into kind of making sure you were reading the correct way.
100%.
That's one thing I didn't like about kind of the layout of the panels for those pages. Like, it could
Yeah.
be seen as being cool, I suppose. I mean, a different kind of idea because you very rarely see it. Maybe you see it like a double page splash
Yeah,
page or whatever, but not so much like the 9-panel stuff. So it took a bit getting used to.
Yeah.
I wasn't convinced by it.
Yeah, all right. Liam, straight off the bat, he says, but I'm gonna say I love this book. It was my jam. I'd probably say the best boom book I've ever read thus far. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
pretty great. It's pretty great. Yeah, I mean, this is for me, it is a great book. But should we talk about the art a little bit?
Yeah. I don't want to bog down too much on the art, but it didn't fulfill what I wanted in the art.
It's
Like-
not groundbreaking.
No, but I get that horror books can't have clean lines. They can't be clean art. It needs to be a bit
Yeah.
scratchy and a bit messy. I get
Do you know
all
what
that.
I've said? You know what I've said in my notes? Scratchy, but in a good way. Like,
don't-
it seemed necessary.
Yeah.
Like, to have this kind of, it's a horror book. You don't want clean lines. As I was saying that, I thought of Witchblade, and Tom from This Month in Movies has just mentioned Witchblade. Witchblade was a very clean lined book, but it was supposed to have this kind of like, not quite horror, but this kind of spooky, dark kind of theme. But because it was so clean, it didn't really give
Yeah.
you that. So you kind of need that kind of scratchiness going with it.
Yeah, but I found particularly in some of the action scenes where Erica Slaughter was fighting the monsters or whatever, like, it was hard to know what kind of way she was like positioning her body. It was hard to know what was what at times. Obviously, compounded with the fact that it's in a dark room mostly,
Yeah.
and they're trying to emphasize that by obviously having like a dark page and so on. I just found it difficult to kind of work out. Like, where's her arm? What's she doing? Like, what, where did she stab? Like, it's hard to know what she was actually doing for the art.
Yeah.
Again, it's not bad art. It does, strangely, it does kind of fit the story, but in kind of reverse rules from last week with Colder, where they had fantastic art and the story was okay. I think this is a fantastic story with okay art.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you nailed it there. Going back to the whole panel thing, going across both pages, Highland G says, I have read a few books that do that a lot recently. It's kind of annoying if they don't stick to one or the other. So, it looks like he's read stuff like that as well. Blue Sonic said he had the same issue as well. Triple G straight away. Don't be dissing this book. I've got 4 copies of issue 1 to shift. I've got
There's
2.
two.
It's
There's
fine.
two grand right there.
Yeah. And Dominic is also saying, scratchy in a good way, the best description of the art, which I did enjoy. So he liked the art, and as well, Liam did as well. He said, I really liked the art. I felt it fit not only the genre, but the story as well. Yeah, I mean, it felt like, I didn't have a problem with it. I just noticed that it wasn't the kind of art that I'm used to, but it's a horror book and it worked.
Like, we know listen, Shane, for example, has problems with faces, and we know the faces in this weren't great. But one thing I did like about it, maybe this is a thing that hasn't been answered yet, but maybe will do in future volumes. So Erica Slaughter herself has really big eyes, and they do allude to it. Like, they mention the fact she's a girl with big eyes.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know. Maybe I think she's like an alien or something, or a monster herself, and she's also in a human form.
Yeah.
But I just found the big eyes on Erica Slaughter really odd,
Yeah.
particularly when they have like her hair coming down to cover the other eye, and this eye just looks.
Yeah, I know. I like what I kind of noted down was that the fact that most of the characters seemed quite generic. In their design, they just seem like normal people, and I guess that's what you want. But then enter Erica Slaughter, who instantly sticks out like a sore thumb, and I don't know, maybe that was the effect they were going for, but yeah, she was definitely eye catching.
Yeah. With the art as well. You mentioned obviously character designs. I'm just going to put this up, Scott. I'm going to take over. Trigger warning. So we did refer to some stuff that's going to be quite disturbing for some people. One thing about this art, which kind of made me look at it twice and think, ooh, was children. Like it showed you the children with like their intestines and everything.
The
Kinda,
entrails.
yeah, all
Say.
kind of gutted out.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if you're old enough to remember this, Scott, but like Nickelodeon had this thing called Inside Out Boy. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was all cute and
That was
cuddly,
weird.
kind of
Yeah.
Inside Out Boy. But this was like this. You've seen all the insides, but with
Yeah.
just more blood and
Mm.
grimness. It was.
I mean,
it was
they
dark.
didn't hold back.
No.
They did, like, you could tell they were going for a shock factor. This book literally did what it said on the tin. And we got it in pretty much, the first few pages. Beth has just come in. I'm so sorry, Scott. I know you love this book, and I both love and respect you, but this was the biggest crock of shit I've ever seen. I mean, when you first see the monster, I think it would have been more. I think I would have been more, and then maybe she's going to continue with that comment.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
like,
agree,
go
I
into the
agree.
monster.
Yeah.
It is a very generic monster. It's just black, shadowy with red eyes and red bits, and that's it. It's a bit sharp, and it makes a screechy noise, and
Yeah.
that is it. But then I was thinking, like, this story we know goes on for a while. It's currently paused on issue 20. It's going to carry on after that. But then in the story they talk about the classes. The E7. This was class E7. So who knows what the other monsters are going to look like?
Yeah, and plus as well, at the end of this book, there's a bit of a revelation that this wasn't a kind of bog standard monster. This was like a nest, and I think was it the mother? I can't remember, but there's other ones off these monsters about. So
Yeah,
it is pure, but I didn't like the design of the monster, but I am
yeah,
expecting different monsters to come
yeah,
with different
yeah. Same. Me
designs and
too.
a bit more dangerous. So it's like almost like setting it up. Like here's a monster, you're going to kill
Yeah.
it, and it's going to be relatively easy because it's going to get harder as we go. I think that's what we're trying to do with the monster design.
Yeah. Beth carries on her comment as well. She said, I mean, when I first saw the monster, I think I would have been more scared of an emo kid jumping out going, rawr.
Yeah.
And Dominic as well says he loves this monster in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we go onto our pages and see what Shane thought as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and do that.
Hey guys, sorry I can't be there in person. I'm at Shocktoberfest getting the life scared out of me, hopefully. I just want to share my initial thoughts on this book, Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1, where it was alright. Nothing special, actually. I was expecting so much more because of the hype behind this book. Like, everyone is going, Something is Killing the Children is so amazing, you've got to read it. And yeah, I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the story. The art, not so much for me. I'm not a fan of that scratchy design. And the reveal of the monster, actually, I laughed out loud. Like, I audibly, when I finally saw what this monster was. Just such a generic, boring monster for something that was supposed to be so terrifying, that was killing children. It was all right. I don't regret reading it. Would I read on for the nerd herd? Yes. On my own time? No. That's my initial thoughts. So
Okay, so that's his initial thoughts. Let's see what he thought of the art.
me again. So my page pick. I picked this page because it's a little bit of a backstory to Erica. I quite enjoyed that, seeing how the book didn't really give us anything verbally about her backstory. We kind of just get this page of flashbacks, so you sort of see what she's doing layer by layer. This page wasn't too bad. Overall, not a fan of the art. It's that scratchy, quick lines and jaggedy edges, and the faces in this book are terrible. Yeah, so I picked it because I like Erica, actually. I like her as a character. I do wish there was a bit more to her backstory, but that's why I picked this page, because you get to see 4 panels of what she's done, monsters she's killed, people she's saved. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it for what it showed more than the art. I know that's not really fair, but this art style is not for me. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying I don't understand why people like it. I do understand why people like the art. I'm saying for me, I'm just not a fan of it. But yeah, see you in a bit with my final thoughts and scores.
So yeah, so we'll show his page again. So
this is cool.
It is a very cool page. It's just 4 little panels with some flashbacks, and they're very quick flashbacks, aren't they? But then I was thinking, I was just saying, maybe some of the monsters will be different and they won't be black and generic colored and whatever. But in here, they look black and generic colored, and they're just
Yeah,
different shapes. That's all we're gonna see by the looks of it.
but maybe they're not ready to reveal that yet in this issue or whatever. They want it. They want that kind of surprise later on, so they don't want to show too much of what they expect. Plus, it's like the way the story went. It's to say like, here's, this is worse than you said it was going to be. We better get our weapons ready and get geared up because this is going to be bad. So they couldn't show her done it before. Then it's be easy. It's been something she hasn't faced before. But you're all right. And to be fair, this page is cool. Like, even though I'm not a huge fan of the art because it's just action packed and she's badass. These two big, I don't know what you call them, but the machetes that they are.
Machetes, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like cutting things up and whatever. But again, look at the size of that eye. It's just a huge eye.
Just one eye.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
Yeah. It is odd. I mean, yeah, but I think it was put there to kind of, help us stick out like a sore thumb. James said he read this with no expectations and he quite enjoyed it. The children's death looked gruesome, and although it felt quite rushed in places, he thought it was a cool story. That's good. That's good. Liam is kind of commenting on Shane's thing. He goes, I like how Shane says generic, boring monster that's meant to be terrifying. Like, if you came across that in the woods, especially as a child, would you not be terrified?
Of course you would be, but if you think about it that way, like compared to the last week's book, Colder, like it's just it's a different level of art entirely.
Yeah, 100%. Should we show your page?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, okay.
So, again, it was very much, I mean, hard to actually find a really good page to put in. First of all, there wasn't that many. A few of the action scenes were really cool, but I didn't like all the dark scenes. But this I really liked. Like, it's just her getting geared up to go into the cave. She's got her mask on. She's taking out her chainsaw. She's got her glow stick. She's walking into the cave, and then the bottom panel with the kind of glow stick glare, with that big eye. It's just, I just thought that was really cool. Like, she means business. But even though, like, her, I would call it a uniform or her outfit, it's very simple. There's no protection there. You think she'd be wearing some sort of like body vest or something, like armored kind of gear. She's just walking in with like jeans and a tank top.
Why not, isn't it? Does that kind of show her fed upness of this whole situation? Because throughout the story, she just doesn't care and she hates who she works for, and like, she seems to be passionate about getting rid of these monsters, but she just hates the life, you know what I mean? And my interpretation of it all was just, she just doesn't care anymore, and if she dies, she dies. If she doesn't, she doesn't. And I think that's how she's going.
Yeah, like I said, she's seen it all before. That's why I took it out of it too. Like, she's an experienced monster hunter, and she's seen it all before. It doesn't like what she does, but she just gets on with it. And one thing about their character as well, which I think they've done really well, was that she clearly has this what's the word, like, affection towards the children. Like, she really wants to help them. It's not so much like it's a sport where she wants to kill all the monsters and stuff just for the sake of it. It's like she really cares about the kids. And but yeah, again, this image is more her preparedness to go into this cave, ready to fight, knowing what to expect. But then obviously, the tables turned because it wasn't what she thought it was going to be.
No, yeah. Should we see my page?
Yeah, boy.
So this is mine. This is towards the near the end of the last issue. So this is when Erica Slaughter has to stab that guy in the side of the head to help him see the monster, because he was really just causing a lot of trouble in terms of getting Erica to kill the monster. So I took this page as in when he was stabbed. What was it called? By the Horde's Gold. When he was like stabbed in the head by that, it looks like with that blue line that's coming out of his eye, like, does he then link up with these people? Do they see him? Does he see them? I just thought it was really cool, and you get you get your first real bit of backstory to Erica, being like, okay, well, now she's part of this group of people. Like, you get throughout the story, you get these phone calls and you just assume that she's working with one guy, but now you know there's a group. You know, like, are these people above her? Are they on the same level as her? Like, why aren't they out killing monsters? Why is it just her? And this page just gives you all these questions. And I just love that every single person there has their own little toy, has their own little cuddly toy for their own little, I don't know, demon woman, a demon
Yeah.
creature thing that comes out. But yeah, and it kind of had, it was more, and I know we said it's scratchy art, but it was more bold in this page than anywhere else.
Yeah, there's probably slightly more detail if you think about the guy with his gold fangs, whatever they are down there.
Yeah, he
And
seems like
obviously
the king.
yeah, details in the eye, and he's wearing like a fancy cravat and stuff. It does seem like they maybe put a bit more effort into this page, but it's still scratchy, obviously, and there's no background, which I quite like. The fact that in the hall they're in, it's all one kind of plain beige color,
Yeah,
and all the colors is their own masks and stuff. Like I really like that, and yeah, that seems like there's a bit more effort put into this. But then again, this is the big reveal. I suppose this is what's driving Erica's slaughter, and obviously this is now their new big book, The House of Slaughter. So this is the first time you see what
Yeah.
this actually is, which is cool.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, that's my pick. And you also get some questions about the symbol in his eye as well. You
Yeah.
know, like, what is that symbol? What does it mean? Why is it there? Who are these people? And all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you guys have read the book, let us know if you've got a particular page that you enjoyed. Try and describe it to us, and we'll try and pick it up. So Blue Sonic agreed with you, Phil. He thought that was a great page. He liked that too. He loved that as
Cool.
well. Dominic also says, I think that will be an advantage to picking up the hardcover deluxe edition, and you can get the whole first story arc in that one volume. Yeah, you get issue 1 to 15, don't you? In the deluxe, which is out next week.
Yeah, we were actually a bit disappointed with that because I had ordered it,
Same.
and the plan was to have it arrive before this week's show
Yeah.
so we could read it, but we couldn't. So out next week, still coming, still looking forward to it.
Yeah. And TB Collects, Tyler's coming in. He's saying, I read volume 1 about 6 months ago and I fell into the hype of this book. I don't remember a ton about it, but I didn't buy any more after volume 1. For me, it was all just fine. Nothing amazing, just fine.
Yeah,
So it seems like he's aligning more with Shane.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of other comments that have kind of mentioned the hype, and I think that it is to its detriment. Like again, if you mentioned before, if you went this from the start, great, you probably do love it. But jumping in this later on, when there's been so many great books that's come out since, as well, it's hard to kind of think like, what was that all about? Why the hype? Still good, but not amazing.
Not fantastic. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the story then.
Cool.
I think for me, the writing was cool. Like, I really liked the relationships in it, and I really enjoyed the more, crime-solving part of it. With the police officers and that section. I think my favorite part of the whole book was when Erica was in custody being questioned, and then she kind of turns that questioning around, and then it ends up that like he is now on her side. He believes her. And I thought that was really cool. And it didn't feel like, James Tynion just wanted it to go, okay, Erica's going to be in control. It felt really organic. And you could, when you're reading it, you could feel that, the tables turn. So he was less in control and she was really explaining what was going on and he was believing it. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. And even the kind of, wouldn't call it banter, but the fact that her ID was on a bit of paper and stuff. It's like, is your name Erica Slaughter? Really? I liked all that as well. I do think the sheriff, or I think it was the sheriff, wasn't he? The sheriff?
Yeah.
Like, he was convinced almost too easily. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like in like one issue, kind of like, right, let her go. We need her to sort this out for us type thing.
Yeah. But he knew something was happening. Like, he couldn't explain all of these children dying. It had to be something,
I suppose maybe that is true. Like, obviously the kids have been down for, it seemed like weeks or months prior. So I think he wasn't getting to the bottom of it. So maybe this was his last resort to let her free. But then the logic in my mind's thinking, well, maybe she's the cause of it. She's this her outsider from the town, keeping her locked up and watching her 24/7. But he just seemed to let her go. Yes, he did send his deputy or whatever to follow her, which also he comes into the play later on more. But the pacing of the book and things like that, it was also very good. It did seem quick as well. Like these things seem to unfold very quickly.
It was a fast-paced book. You know, it's only 5 issues, and we do get a lot of information going on. But it is, you know, we do miss chunks of days, don't we? We do miss bits here and there.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say as well about the kind of the pacing is that I could be wrong, but there was no narration in this, was
No.
there? None at all.
No.
So it did actually read quite well in terms of if this was a TV show on Netflix, which it's going to be, or well, whatever,
Yeah.
Amazon Prime or Apple, whatever it's going to
It'll
be.
be Netflix, yeah.
I could see this as an episode. Even this one volume seems to be maybe one episode type
Just
thing,
one
you know.
episode. Yeah, maybe 2 at a push.
Yeah, the push. Yeah, obviously you need to build the characters more, particularly like the brother who then joined the hunt and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there were some things that were quite odd to include in the book as well. Like, so the brother, who I can't remember his name, his sisters went missing. Is it Tommy?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
it's Tommy, I think. And so he then goes to his dad, who's sleeping on the sofa,
naked.
Yeah. It's like, so like, obviously the point of that was to get to retrieve his gun, so he could use his gun going in to find Erica Slaughter. But like, I don't think we needed to see that. Like, that was just like 2 panels of story that introduced his dad just to be a bit of a jackass, but really he didn't add anything to the story as well.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
from what happened in this and the fact that he was stabbed in the head with the Horde's gold, I feel like he's going to be more of a integral character in the story overall, and maybe it's good to know his backstory. You know, we know his mother's not, you know, mentally great. His dad looks like a drunk, or just a very rundown kind of guy, and he's just found his sister dead. And so I think maybe we're learning about his family for a reason. I have no idea. But I feel like he's going to be involved a bit more now that he can see monsters, because you're not just going to leave a guy now that he can see monsters. I don't know. But yeah, we've only got the first 5.
As Shane, I think, touched on it in our private chat. I think, was it Dominic mentioned Stranger Things? I definitely get Stranger Things vibes about this.
Yeah.
Not just because of the monster, but more because like it's, it has children, like our young teenage children involved. And like, if this again was an episode of Stranger Things, it would fit really well with that current cast of Stranger Things,
Yeah.
What I found quite strange, because so obviously Stranger Things is aimed for kids, but trying to be dark, but not too dark that kids can still watch it, but also adults can watch it. So I think that's the audience it's trying to reach here. However, and then they have a kid, I can't remember her name, at the first issue, who accompanies Erica Slaughter.
Oh, the girl,
little girl
in the kind of not
the cart or the
cart,
the wagon or whatever it is, yeah. And then obviously James, the other kid from the next lot of monsters that's come in. So it's definitely like, if it's a TV show, I think Stranger Things. I think the writer James Tynion, that's the one, was trying to like maybe get that vibe from Stranger Things. But then you have the mutation or the mutilation of the kids.
Yeah,
it wasn't that, and it shouldn't. Like, kids shouldn't really see that, because I don't, it is really grim and it's quite disturbing. So it's hard to know what's trying to be. It's trying to be horror, but like, is it reaching the young adult audience? Is it reaching adult? Is it reaching children, like teenage children? I don't know.
I am curious how they're gonna show this on the TV show. Just are you going to see that much detail? It's different seeing it in a scratchily drawn picture.
Yeah,
but how visible will it be on the TV show?
I suppose in a way, like, they refer it back to Lock and Key, which we all read, and you'd read on, I think, so you know how dark.
I've read it all, yeah.
So you know how dark that book is, but obviously the TV show is tame. Like, it's kind of, it is more for the young adult, so they will have to definitely change their perspective for the TV audience. Because
Sean the Newbie saying this is being developed at Netflix by the guys who made Haunting of Hill House, etc. So he expects it to be scary as. So maybe there won't be anything held back. Maybe it will just be like, not for the faint-hearted kind of thing.
Yeah.
who knows?
That's what I mean, because obviously the kids are involved in this. Like the kid, I don't want to say sidekick, but essentially that's what James was. He became Erica Slaughter's sidekick. Like those kind of tropes and stuff are usually aimed for a younger audience when it comes to TV shows as well. So, I mean, I'm maybe clutching at straws. It probably won't be like that, but Sean said that nail on the head. Haunted of House Hill, it leads you to believe that this will be frightening. So you're right. Maybe they won't go for the young, like the young adult audience, because like it's going to be creepy.
I know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see, won't we? We'll have to see. Lee says, like, going back to the Stranger Things thing, he thinks that's why he loves it, because he loves Stranger Things so much. He goes, "This is Stranger Things if they had gone down a proper horror route." And Tyler is saying, "Phil, you just hit my main issue with this book. I couldn't really tell what they were going for. It starts with all these kids and it was trying to be more horror. I couldn't tell if it was for kids or for adults, but I don't think it hits on what it wants to be."
Yeah, certainly not with this first volume. Again, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I think as a complete volume 1, as in the first 15 issues, you might get a clearer picture of what it's trying to be. Definitely. I mean, for me, this first volume kind of focuses on the introduction of Erica Slaughter more than anything else. And obviously a monster, but I think it focuses more on Erica Slaughter and the House of Slaughter. This is what they do. This is what they're here for. So,
and it has to show us, something is killing the children. And we saw the something. We saw Erica. We saw the kind of order that's controlling her, and we saw the ramifications that it's having on the town. And I think it's a good introduction to the whole thing. It's 5 issues. I kind of see the first few issues as kind of like, a pilot episode. You know what I mean? And especially when I read most of my stuff in trades anyway, I don't mind just reading a full volume 1. And then just we've read a lot of introductions, haven't we, to stories over the last year, but that's how it feels. It feels just like an introduction, and we've now been introduced to all the main characters, some side characters, the main premise of the story, and now it's from this point on, issue 6 onwards, where it will unravel and progress and develop, and we'll just get a bit deeper.
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of they can't answer everything, but there's a lot in this volume that is left unanswered.
Yeah.
Especially with Erica, like I say, like her surname's Slaughter, but it's clearly not her. It's clearly not her name, because
I know. Yeah.
Slaughter's obviously the House of Slaughter, and she's So what is she? Is she like an orphan that's been, brought into this order to kill monsters? Is she a monster herself? Which I tend to think she might be. I don't know.
Right, okay.
I'm just speculating. I haven't read on. I only read this first volume today, and even that wee octopus, the wee octopus toy.
Yeah. It's great. That was creepy and awesome.
Yeah, but like, what is it? Like, as in, I initially thought it was the Order of the House of Slaughter, where maybe you had a camera in the octopus. That's how their way of watching what she's doing.
Yeah.
But then obviously the whole issue where the sheriff went to her motel room and had this big, I don't know, octopus-looking thing going
like
out.
Spirity ghost thing.
Yeah. So there's so much unanswered, obviously, and that's what makes the reader want to read on.
Yeah. I mean,
And
what
I'm looking forward to reading on, but
yeah, me too. What intrigues me the most with the octopus is, what do the other cuddly toy, spirit ghost monster things look like? And that's something that interests me, and it makes me want to look more into it and read on.
Yeah, because I think one of the from your page, one of them had the giraffe, didn't it?
Yeah. Let me just get it up again. So we got a giraffe, a bunny, a monkey, a bull, and a teddy bear.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're obviously, because to be fair, Erica's octopus did look a bit freaky. It's in like
the zip mouth and
but they look a bit more cute and cuddly. Those wee toys. So obviously they're not going to be cute and cuddly. I think that's a given if they do show themselves later on. But yeah. This is the thing too. If this becomes a TV show, guarantee that Funko or NECA or somebody will release those toys as merchandise.
Some sort of plush company as well. Yeah, they'll do it. And if they don't, they're missing a trick, and there's going to be a hell of a lot on Etsy. definitely.
100%. Maybe you'll do some yourself, Scott, with your 3D printer.
Who knows? I'll 3D print one. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like we haven't got much time left, and I want to talk more about Erica. I mean, she is the main character in this, and she is just this mysterious person that no one knows anything about. And I'm just so intrigued by her. I mean, I think that's the point. That is the point. You know, who is this big-eyed woman who doesn't wear any protection to fight these monsters, and what has happened to you to get you to this kind of weird state of not caring and nonchalantery and just cracking on. That's the kind of vibe I get from her. I'll just do it. You know what I mean? I'll find the monster. I'll just crack on. But she seems to have a lot of care for like getting rid of getting rid of the monster. But then when it comes to like answering to the the order of the house or whatever it is, she hates that bit.
Yeah, she's not like obedient to or loyal to that kind of house. There also is a history between the two of them, a conflict of some sort. Again, that's a question you want to have answered by reading on. I get the impression that she is. I still think she's a monster of some sort in human form. I don't know why. It's just what I think. But if she is a typical human, I think she's obviously had experience with monsters.
Yeah.
Maybe they've killed her friends and her family when she was young or something along those lines.
Yeah, okay.
And so she's obviously determined to do this. And she does seem quite protective of children. When she doesn't need to be, essentially. I mean, she's you doesn't have to be.
The monsters aren't aiming for children.
Yeah, it's what I mean, but they're not hers. So it's if someone else would do it, because I'd run away,
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of mystery with her backstory, and I do think, and I don't read the book, but from my understanding, there is an arc later on at some point where they go to explain her backstory a lot more. Yeah. And I think they were quite big sellers with a single issue. So obviously, a lot of other people felt the same, that they wanted to have certain things explained and look forward to it. And I'm no different.
Sean has said a lot of these questions are answered later on, and he does agree that the first trade is just an introduction as well. So
I like Highland G's point there as well. Sorry, it says I think the toy keeps their thoughts young so they can see the monsters, because that is something. Maybe. Because adults can't see the monster, but obviously Erica can. So
it's the Hoard's Gold thing that lets him see the monster.
Yeah, I know that for Tommy, but can the order? Do they just inject themselves every time they see? I
don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and he also thinks that it's their first toys. So she's got this battered octopus, and everyone else has got like these nice looking toys.
But then that's the thing. If that is the case, which again it could very well be, again with her battered octopus, there's a backstory there that I want to know.
Yeah.
Why is it so battered? Why is it just such a raggedy toy? What was her life like when she was a kid?
Yeah, but yeah, like you said earlier, I think we do find the origin. Like that is issue 16 to 20. That is the origin of her story. So I was a bit disappointed when I found out that the deluxe edition just covers the first 15 issues, and then we don't get an origin. And because I know now they're doing these deluxe editions, I'm not going to buy any more trades. I'm not going to buy any more single issues. I'm just going to wait for these deluxes. So how long do I have to wait now to get the next lot of books,
If you can wait almost 2.5 years or 3 years for Saga, I mean, I think it's going to be okay to wait. Yeah. But and plus they're pausing, like you said, they're pausing at issue 20 and they're moving on to House of Slaughter book. So again, they might do that for 20 issues and then go into the next 20 for Something's Killing the Children. So you could be waiting a long time to get that next. Which is disappointing, I suppose. But
yeah, it is a bit disappointing. Shall we move on to final thoughts and scores?
Oh, you're making it cooler. Nice glasses.
That's all I've got here. I don't know why I've got sunglasses up here. It's not sunny. Yeah, so
it's never sunny.
Well, son, what's that? Yes. So we'll look at Shane's thoughts and scores first. But guys, you know the drill. You know the score. It seems like a lot of you have read this book, so please do give your scores, and don't forget your score is now becoming part of the overall score. So your score will help shape what it becomes on the leaderboard. We do already have one score from this month in movies. He's been popping in and out, but he did message us the other day, and he gave us a 10 out of 10 for this story. So we'll add that on, but let's go ahead and look at Shane's final thoughts and scores first.
Final thoughts and scores on Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1. It's a book that I heard a lot about quality-wise. I didn't hear anything about the story, so I didn't know what was killing the children. I didn't know who Erica was. I kind of figured out she was a monster hunter from like the images of her, but I didn't know anything. So going into it as blind as you can into a book that's been out for so long, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the read. I enjoyed the story and the idea. Not so much the art. Definitely not the monster. That generic spider shadow monster is just so overdone and so boring. It's like the visual equivalence of white noise. Like you sort of stop seeing the monster after a while. You know, like it when you turn the page and he's there, you're not seeing the monster. You're just ignoring that and you're trying to create something a little bit more scary in your mind, because that is just, it's a shadow monster. It's not been scary, has it, since Lost? Let's face it, it's nothing. But overall, I don't regret reading it, which is a plus. I wouldn't read on my own time, but I wouldn't mind reading on for the nerd herd. I see why people love this book. I don't understand why it gets the praise it gets, because it is nowhere near the quality and the excitement and just the visual excellence of some other books out there. So I don't understand the hype. I really, really don't understand that. It makes no sense to me. But it's not bad, so that's good. But for me, this is a 6.5 out of 10. I like the idea. I like the character of Erica. I just don't like the art, and the monster was a major letdown for me after waiting to see it, and it was just that it has to lose major points for me. So yeah, 6.5 from me, guys. See you next week. Bye.
Okay, so 6.5. That's a bit rough.
It does. I think, again, just based on the hype, I suppose, and that's kind of why I'm trying not to go with my score, you know.
Yeah,
trying to avoid that.
I think we've all come into this quite definitely at different stages and with different mentalities. I mean, you know, Shane is in there reading it based on the hype. You know about the hype, but you're trying to forget about it and just, you know, like level out your bar of expectation. And then I've been there from pretty much the start, and I've just enjoyed it naturally, I guess.
Yeah.
We've also got to say hi to Ian from Hoodrat Comics and Tyler from Shattered Glass Comic Reviews. So yes, we got quite a few scores, guys. We'll give you some more time to give some scores as well. I expect Liam and Beth to give very contrasting scores. But yeah, Phil, do you want to go ahead and let us know what you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, just if I don't hear from Liam and Beth, I'm going to give them a text, because they were having a domestic over this book. There's two contrasting opinions. So.
Liam's just message. That's fine.
That's good. Yeah, again, trying to avoid the hype, because the hype does let the book down in terms of it wasn't what it felt like it should be based on how people perceive the book for the last 2 years, and particularly the amount of money that the single issue sell for. Yeah. And that's maybe like a bad thing about the comic book world in general, is the speculation market and so on. Reading this from start to finish, it does kind of flow like a TV show would. I do think this could be, even if you adapt this word for word, page for page, it would make a good television show. Providing they cast Erica Slaughter correctly and they do the kids' guts correctly. But the art wasn't my favorite. Again, I mentioned before that it was hard to know what was going on sometimes, particularly in the battle scenes or the fight scenes in the dark room. I didn't really like the kind of dynamic of that. It wasn't that dynamic, basically. And I was let down by the Shadow Monster. It is typical, but I haven't discussed this through now. I kind of see now that they can't give everything for the first issue or the first volume, because this is very much a platform. Like, here's the story. Here's what's going to go. You know, it's giving you a bit of expectation for future volumes, which I'm looking forward to. I suppose that's what they're trying to do. That's what indie books do do, because they can't give you everything at the start because they want to keep you interested going on. So bottom line is, I had a good time reading it from start to finish. It was a good story, flowed really well, told a good story, grotesque and exciting, but not overly dark, other than the kid scenes as well. And I kind of want to read on to see what happens with Erica, to see what happens with Tommy and James, that kind of team, and what happens, to the town, I suppose, because the sheriff will have more involvement and so on. So it's done its job. It's a good story, not groundbreaking. Art wasn't superb. I'm fighting between two scores, so give me 5 more seconds. I'll try and determine what I want to do.
What's your gut
okay.
saying, mate?
Okay, because Shane got a 6.5, I'm going to go one more. I'm going to give a 7.5.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome. We've had a lot of scores. I've got them all. Don't worry. So we got the 10 from Tom, 7 from Highland G. We've got 8.5 from Dominic. He says, really liked it. Right up my alley. I do think the story got better as we read more. Pete, he's saying, I liked it. Strong 8 for me. James, I'd give this a solid 8. TB Collects, though, he says, because I haven't read it recently, I don't think I can be fair giving it a score. Like I said, it was fine for me. Glad you guys liked it. Love the chat as always. Tyler, he says, issue 1 was a 10 for me. The rest was great, but not up to number 1. So I haven't counted that score because he hasn't given it a whole score. Liam, he says, I think it has to be a 9 for me. The art could have been better, but as I said, it fits the story they're telling. I'm genuinely looking forward to more of this. And then he says, Beth can't give a score as she didn't finish reading. But she has given a score, so I'll let you decide, Phil. She says she wants to give it a 2, but she hasn't finished.
Just give it a 2. That's the score for
Okay.
the integrity of the Nerd Herd chat going forward. We have to take it.
I've written it down. And Blue Sonic, he says, I really enjoyed it and will 100% read on, but the first volume didn't live up to the hype. This is a 9 from me if you ignore the hype.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. There's a bit of an argument between Beth and Lee going on in the chat.
Sean.
Yeah. Sean. Yeah. Where's that? Oh, where is Sean's score? Sorry, buddy. Where is that?
I think it was here.
Yes, right at the top. Sorry.
7.
For the first trade, give it a 7. It's not fleshed out enough to have a higher score, but was enough to keep me intrigued to read on. Let me just write that one down. There we go. And then, okay, right. Tyler, 8.5 from me. I'll knock it down 1 point because Phil is here. So 7.5. We'll stick to the 8.5 there. And I think that's it. We've got Aggressively Relaxing joined in. He says, I just caught up and it's a great world. I know a lot more books deserve success, but this one definitely earns it. Great. Okay, there we go. That's all the scores locked in. I'll sort all that out in a sec. So we have 11 of you put a score in. Fantastic. Okay, so my thoughts and scores. I'll keep it brief. It was a good, fun, scary book. I mean, it did exactly what it said in the tin. You were introduced to this mysterious character that could deal with the monsters, and it was kind of a cross between a small town crime drama, like a murder mystery type thing, with a bit of this sci-fi fantasy element going on. And I kind of liked the mix. I really enjoyed the mystery of Erica. The art, scratchy but fine. It made sense. I don't think I would have liked it if it was clean art. I kind of enjoy that it was this kind of scratchy kind of thing going on. The monster design, we've all said, a bit generic, and we've seen in those flashbacks, they still keep to the kind of black, just generic. It just seems that they're just different shapes. So who knows where these monsters are coming from. I've definitely enjoyed the story. It is something I do definitely want to carry on, and I have read Volume 2, but my score isn't based on Volume 2 at all. I'm purely basing it on this, and for me, it's going to be, so you were 1 above Shane.
Yes.
I'm going to be 1 above you.
Oh.
I am going for 8.5. Nice. So, please don't say, right, okay, I need to, right, let's do some maths. Right. If this is right, and I really hope it's not.
See, before we go on, say the score, I do have to notice or say, sorry. So Liam has confirmed that Beth didn't get through issue 1, let alone the volume.
Right.
So now that I'm thinking, should we allow her score of 2?
I'm not sure we should allow a score.
Is that because you
don't-
see the score now and you think, oof, doesn't deserve that?
Well, no, because she's read one issue. Like, she hasn't read the story. Like, this is a show where we talk about the whole story and we score the whole story.
Liam and Beth, you have 5 seconds to confirm. Did you only read issue 1? And should we count your score? Because the leaderboard, it matters. You know, Shane's very arrogant from last week that he's number 1, but this could knock it off possibly. So,
yeah, that's true. Right, we got to make a decision. We got to make a decision right now.
I don't want to upset Beth, so you make that decision, Scott.
Okay, we're not including it. You've only read one issue. You've got to read the whole story. If you want to give a score, you've got to read the whole story, and that's final. So we're going to get rid of that. It probably doesn't make the scores any better. She says she flicked through to see if the art got better, but it got worse. Wow. Okay. Right. So let's just readjust these here.
We love you, Beth,
So-
but sorry.
Okay. We have okay, we have a total.
Okay.
We have a total score, and you're not going to like it.
Oh.
Okay, so Shane gave it a 6.5, Phil gave it a 7.5, I gave it an 8.5. In the audience score, we had a 10, a 7, a 7, 8.5, 8, 8, 9, 9, 7, 8.5. So your average, guys, your audience average gave us 8.2. Which, and then if you add that together with our scores and average those, we get a 7.6. Right. This is a shambles. The score has averaged out to 7.675. We round that up. That's what we've done in the past.
7.7.
So it's a 7.7. So overall, it is a 7.7. So let's see where it comes on the leaderboard. It is a 0.1 higher than Colder. And to be honest, I am surprised. I thought it would have gone a lot higher. I would have thought at least in the 8s.
Yeah, again, similar to the once and feature for last season's work. Like, again, Shane kind of based his score in the hype. I tried not to, but again, I can't ignore the hype at the same time. So
Yeah.
it may suffer from that. And again, other people's scores too, it could suffer from that as well. So
Yeah. I mean, who knows what this would have been like if we read this when it was out at the time, you know?
yeah, and plus, listen, as we know, with sequels month, if we do another sequels month again and read volume 2, it may get a better score because you're getting more meat in the bones, I suppose, of the story. But yeah, I think 7.7. I can't remember what. If I remember correctly, was Maximum Carnage around that score?
That was
No?
7 dead on.
Was it 7? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's only 0.7 better than Maximum Carnage. It's probably about right.
Yeah. Yeah, great. So there we go. Thank you everyone for joining. We will tell you what we've got coming up next week. We are going to be reading Philip's pick next week.
Yeah,
Philip,
boy.
what is it?
It is Deceased by Tom Taylor from 2019.
There we
Looking
go.
forward to
So that's what we're going to be reading. Guys, don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode and you like the sound of this book, and you don't own it, it seems like everyone in this chat owns it, or if you want to upgrade, then we do have all of the links for Volume 1, the Deluxe Edition, and the Deluxe Edition with the slipcase in our descriptions, so you can go ahead and buy them as well if you want. And every penny we get will go back to you. So yeah, that is it. So thank you for joining. That has been episode 2, issue 2 of volume 2 of the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club, reading Something is Killing the Children, volume 1. There we go. So there's only one more thing to do now. And
What
it's
could that
to wave your get out.
Wave your gets out.
Wave your gets out.
Wave your guts out.
Wave your gets out. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
Love you.